Fashion is about keeping tabs on and following trends set by others. Style is about defining your own point of view through the things that you wear. I'm Colin Wright, and you are watching Consider This. What's in fashion is certainly determined by a group of fashion industry insiders, but it's also partially determined by the fashion industry itself, by the business behind the fashion industry. And this is why in a lot of cases you'll see an increasing number of seasons each year, different fashion seasons, because they have this need to continuously push through different types of clothing. And as a result, different looks and different items and accessories and materials will be on trend for a couple of weeks before a new trend moves in. Now, style is the flip side of that coin. Style is something that's not necessarily in fashion, and in fact it's probably not in fashion because fashion changes so quickly. But style is something that is a reflection of the person who is wearing it. It is taking something about yourself, something that's inside, and wearing it on the outside. It's communicating it with other people. And this might be through color or through pattern or through the style of the clothing or the material. It may be that it's avant-garde, it may be that it's more conservative, it may be something that you want to blend into the background or something that really puts you out there and pops and catches everybody's eye. Whatever the case may be, having a style, having a sense of your own personal style, means that you are expressing yourself. Whereas fashion means that you are following the trends set by an industry and following somebody else's idea of what they think looks good for right now. Now, ostensibly, what fashion is doing is capturing something of the zeitgeist, something of the common cultural phenomenon that's occurring right now, and putting it into clothing form. The reality of that industry is that they build up these styles a long way in advance, and they decide who will be wearing what at one point, and they put it all through this great big machine that is really, really good at generating revenue and coming up with some good ideas from time to time, but typically doesn't express any one person's point of view very often. There was a time when there was a small group of artists that were defining what fashion is all about. These days it's more about moving merchandise and ensuring that everybody feels a little bit self-conscious so that they'll buy that new cool thing that everybody will be wearing for the next 2 weeks. Now, these two things go hand in hand, and it would be difficult for one to exist without the other. Style informs fashion, in that independent individual people who are creative in some way or expressive in some way wear a certain thing or figure out some new type of clothing or some new accessory, and then the fashion world catches on and they mass produce it and generate revenue from it and create an industry around which people can buy and produce these things. Fashion then creates a whole lot of material, a whole lot of clothing, different pants and shirts and dresses and skirts and headbands and shoes, and from this, people who have a sense of style, people who have an idea of what they want to express, have materials through which to express themselves. So even if you're not on trend and you are not buying the things that you're supposed to be buying right now, there's a chance the fashion industry, a really good chance actually, that the fashion industry is providing you with the raw materials that you use to express yourself. I definitely don't want it to sound like I'm just talking shit about the fashion industry, because although there's a lot wrong with it, a lot wrong from beginning to end in terms of the business models that they use and the sweatshop labor that they often utilize as well, there's a lot of problems, but it's not something that's inherently bad. It's a system that's been created around a need that it is serving. But I do want to shut down this idea that if you are fashionable, that you can look at somebody else and judge them for not being as on trend as you are. If you are judging somebody for not being on trend, what you're really saying is, oh, look at that person. They are not as good a follower as I am. Instead, what we should be focusing on is utilizing all of these tools, including the on-trend boots and gloves and everything else, and figuring out how best to use them to express who we are as individuals. If that individual person that we are is somebody who's great at following and who's great at taking something existing and doing a really polished version of it, presenting a really polished outfit based on exactly what everybody else is wearing, that's totally legitimate. But we shouldn't be excluding other people or judging other people for expressing themselves in a different way than we are. Ideally, we all have an understanding of fashion and the way that that industry works so that we can utilize it to better express ourselves, so that we can better recognize what our existing style is and maybe borrow some from these people who do it professionally as well. Take some advice from the pros, the way that we would look at a painter, a master painter who mass produces amazing work, and use some of their technique to express ourselves a little bit better as well. If you like this video, a like or a share or a subscribe or a comment, all of these things would be amazing. You can find out more about me and my work at colin.io, and you can follow me elsewhere all over the social interwebs at Colin is my name.